Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, where we dive deep into the fascinating stories behind some of the rarest and most valuable coins from around the world. Today, we're shining a spotlight on a truly iconic piece of American numismatic history, the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny. What seems like an ordinary 1-cent coin actually hides a wealth of history, artistry, and potential value that could make it the crown jewel in any collection. Stay with me till the very end because you'll be amazed to learn just how much this penny can be worth in today's market. Let's start by setting the scene. The year 1936 was a pivotal moment in America's story. The country was slowly climbing out of the Great Depression, a period that tested the resilience of the American people and the economy. Coins like the Lincoln Wheat Penny were circulating widely, passing from hand to hand in everyday transactions, little ambassadors of hope and stability. The Lincoln Wheat Penny itself has an illustrious lineage, introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Its design was a breakthrough for the time, making Lincoln the first real person ever depicted on a U.S. coin, moving away from the classical allegorical figures that had been the norm. On the front of the 1936 penny, you'll find the familiar and dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner. This profile has become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage, symbolizing integrity, unity, and perseverance. The reverse side features two elegant stalks of wheat embracing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This design, affectionately known as the wheat ears or wheat penny, reflects America's agricultural heritage and the importance of farming to the nation's economy at the time. One of the key details that collectors obsess over is the mint mark. The 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The Denver and San Francisco mint pennies, due to their relatively lower mintages compared to Philadelphia, are often more sought after by collectors, especially when found in superior condition. The mint mark is located just below the date on the obverse side, and identifying it correctly can dramatically affect a coin's value. Condition plays a monumental role in determining the worth of any coin, and the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny is no exception. Because these pennies were in everyday circulation, many show significant wear. Finding one in a well-preserved, mint state condition, where the intricate details of Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks are sharp and clear, is becoming increasingly rare. Such coins are like time capsules, offering a pristine glimpse into American history frozen in copper. For collectors, the thrill lies in hunting down these near-perfect specimens, often graded by professional services to confirm their condition and authenticity. Another exciting aspect that adds to the allure of the 1936 Wheat Penny are the minting errors and unique varieties that occasionally surface. These might include double dyes, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes, quirks born from the minting process that make the coin one of a kind. Error coins are extremely popular in the collector community because their rarity makes them stand out from the vast sea of regular pennies. If you stumble upon a 1936 penny with one of these errors, you might be holding a rare treasure that commands a premium price. Talking about value, the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny can range widely depending on its condition, mint mark, and any unique features it might have. In most circulated conditions, these pennies may only fetch a modest price, usually just a few cents or dollars. However, when you have a 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny in exceptional uncirculated condition, especially with a desirable mint mark and free from defects, you are looking at a piece of history that could be worth an incredible amount. In fact, one of the most remarkable specimens of the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny can command a staggering price of $149,000. This shows just how much value can be packed into a coin that most people overlook. It's a testament to the power of rarity, history, and condition converging to create something truly special. So, if you've got a collection sitting in a drawer or if you come across a handful of old pennies, don't rush past the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Examine it carefully under good light, look for that mint mark, and if it appears to be in excellent shape, consider having it professionally graded. You might just have a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, we're zooming in on a true classic from American numismatics, the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This coin might look like your everyday penny at first glance, but as we'll discover, it holds a rich history and a surprising value that could make it a standout piece in your collection. Stick around, because at the end, you'll find out just how much this humble penny could be worth. Trust me, it's a jaw-dropper. To really appreciate the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we have to rewind a little bit and put it into historical context. The late 1930s were a period of cautious optimism in the United States. The country was still emerging from the grip of the Great Depression, with new policies and programs aimed at economic recovery making their impact. During this time, coins like the Lincoln Wheat Penny were not just currency, they were symbols of resilience and unity. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the coin represented the ideals of honesty and strength, qualities the nation aspired to as it rebuilt itself. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series itself is iconic, first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Victor David Brenner's design was revolutionary, breaking from the tradition of allegorical figures by featuring a real person's portrait for the first time on a circulating U.S. coin. The obverse of the 1937 penny showcases this enduring image of Lincoln, detailed with remarkable craftsmanship. On the reverse, the wheat ears frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, a nod to the country's agricultural roots and the hard-working American spirit. Now, let's talk about the mint mark, the tiny letter that can make a huge difference. The 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced at 3 major mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S. The mint mark sits just below the date on the front of the coin. Collectors are always keen to identify the mint mark because the rarity and value of the coin can shift dramatically depending on where it was minted. For example, the Denver and San Francisco coins typically had lower mintages compared to Philadelphia, which often means they can be more valuable, especially in top-grade condition. Condition is king when it comes to coin collecting, and the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny is no exception. These pennies were in active circulation, meaning many have seen heavy wear and tear. The true treasure lies in finding examples that retain sharp details, like the lines in Lincoln's hair or the intricate texture of the wheat stalks, with minimal signs of damage or fading. Such coins often undergo professional grading to assess their quality and authenticity, and those graded at the highest levels are especially prized by collectors and investors alike. Adding another layer of intrigue are the minting errors and rare varieties that occasionally appear in the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny series. These might include double dies, repunched mint marks, or striking errors where the coin is off-center or missing part of the design. Error coins are highly sought after because their uniqueness makes them stand out from the vast quantities of standard pennies produced. Owning an error or variant from this year can elevate a coin's value significantly and make it a centerpiece for any collection. Now let's get to the big question: how much is a 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth? In general, the value depends heavily on the coin's condition, mint mark, and whether it has any unusual characteristics. Most circulated coins might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But for collectors, coins in pristine uncirculated condition or with rare mint marks or errors can fetch astounding prices. To put this into perspective, some of the finest 1937 Lincoln Wheat Pennies have sold for an eye-popping $144,000. Yes, you heard that right, over $100,000 for a coin that started as just 1 cent. This staggering figure highlights the incredible demand and admiration for well-preserved and rare examples from this series. If you've recently gone through your old coin jar, or maybe you've inherited a collection, it's definitely worth taking a close look at any 1937 pennies you come across. Check for that mint mark, assess the coin's condition under good lighting, and if you suspect you have something special, consider having it professionally graded. You might just be sitting on a numismatic treasure. Today, we're focusing on a true American classic, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might look like just a humble penny, but trust me, this coin holds a fascinating history and a surprising value that could make any collector's heart race. Stay with me until the end because the value of this particular penny might just blow your mind. Let's set the stage for 1941. The world was on the brink of monumental change. The United States was preparing to enter World War II, and the country's economy and society were shifting dramatically. Against this backdrop, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was circulating widely in everyday transactions, passing through countless hands. This coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's timeless profile, was more than currency. It was a symbol of hope, perseverance, and unity during uncertain times. The Lincoln Wheat Penny design itself is one of the most beloved in American numismatics. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. The obverse side of the 1941 penny showcases Victor David Brenner's detailed engraving of Lincoln, capturing his thoughtful expression with remarkable clarity. The reverse side displays two elegant stalks of wheat framing the denomination, 1 cent, and the inscription, United States of America, a tribute to the country's agricultural heritage and hard-working spirit. Now, the mint mark, small but incredibly significant. In 1941, pennies were minted at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. This tiny letter, positioned just below the date, can drastically influence the coin's rarity and value. Philadelphia coins tend to be more common due to larger production numbers, whereas Denver and San Francisco issues, produced in lower quantities, are often more sought after by collectors. Determining the mint mark is one of the first steps in evaluating any Lincoln Wheat Penny's worth. Condition plays a huge role when it comes to the value of any coin, and the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny is no exception. Because these pennies were everyday currency, many have been heavily circulated, showing signs of wear, scratches, and faded details. But here's where it gets exciting: coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, where Lincoln's features and the wheat stalks are sharp and clear, are extremely rare. These coins have often been preserved carefully in collections or saved in special holders, maintaining their luster and fine details. Collectors and investors place great emphasis on grading, which assesses a coin's condition on a scale from poor to mint state. A 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny in mint state condition can command a premium price because it's such a rare find. Even coins graded as about uncirculated, with only minimal wear, are prized and can fetch significantly higher amounts than their circulated counterparts. Adding to the intrigue are the rare varieties and minting errors that occasionally appear in the 1941 penny series. Some coins might have doubled dies, where design elements appear doubled, or repunched mint marks, which happen when the mint mark was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. These errors are incredibly prized by collectors because they are unique variations that stand out from the millions of standard coins. Finding a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with one of these anomalies can dramatically increase its value. So, what about the actual value of this coin? It depends on a number of factors: mint mark, condition, and rarity. Most common circulated 1941 pennies might be worth just a few cents or a couple of dollars to casual collectors. However, when you're dealing with coins in near-perfect condition or those with rare mint marks and errors, the value skyrockets. To put things into perspective, some of the highest-grade 1941 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, especially those from Denver or San Francisco mints with exceptional preservation or notable errors, have sold for an astounding $133,000. That's right, over $100,000 for a coin that began its life as just 1 cent. If you've recently sorted through your coin jars or inherited a collection, it's absolutely worth taking a close look at any 1941 pennies you find. Examine the mint mark carefully, check the coin's condition under good lighting, and if you suspect you have a gem, consider having it professionally graded. This could be the key to unlocking a hidden treasure. Today, we're turning our attention to a classic piece of American history, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This seemingly simple penny carries with it a wealth of history, rarity, and potential value that could surprise even the most seasoned collectors. Stick around until the end of the video, because we'll reveal just how much a pristine 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny can be worth. Let's set the scene. 1942 was a pivotal year in American and world history. The United States was fully engaged in World War II, with the home front mobilizing for the war effort. Everyday objects, including coins, took on special meaning during this time. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, which had been circulating since 1909, remained a staple in everyday transactions. But it wasn't just change in your pocket. these pennies symbolized resilience and continuity during a period of tremendous uncertainty. The design of the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny remains one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage history. On the front side, or obverse, you see a dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by artist Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's profile has been a constant on this penny since its inception, symbolizing honesty and strength. The reverse side, known for its distinctive wheat stalks flanking the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, reflects America's agricultural heritage, a nod to the hard-working spirit that helped the nation persevere through tough times. One key detail to focus on when examining a 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is the mint mark. These pennies were minted in Philadelphia, which doesn't carry a mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S. This tiny letter just beneath the year can greatly affect the coin's rarity and, consequently, its value. Philadelphia minted the most pennies in 1942, followed by Denver and San Francisco. While the Philadelphia pennies are relatively common, those minted in Denver and San Francisco are generally more desirable due to lower production numbers. Condition, as always, plays a huge role in the value of any coin. The majority of 1942 pennies were used heavily in circulation, so it's not unusual to find these coins with considerable wear, faded details, scratches, and a loss of the original mint luster. However, when you come across a 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny in excellent condition, perhaps even uncirculated with sharp details and vibrant color, you've got a true collector's gem on your hands. The better preserved the coin, the higher its market value. Beyond condition and mint mark, there are also some rare variations and minting anomalies from this year that have captivated collectors. For instance, there's the 1942 bronze Lincoln penny, a rare off-metal error, which was unintentionally struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual steel planchet that was used during the war years to save copper. These error coins are incredibly rare and can fetch huge sums at auction. Another sought-after variant is the double die penny, where doubling of the design elements occurs due to a misalignment during the minting process, creating a distinct shadow effect on the letters and numbers. What makes the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny truly fascinating is the combination of history, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. Collectors from around the world prize these coins not only for their potential monetary value but also for the stories they represent, stories of a nation at war, of resourcefulness, and of American heritage preserved in copper and steel. So, what is this coin actually worth? Well, it depends on the factors we discussed: mint mark, condition, and any unique errors or varieties. While many circulated examples may only be worth a few cents to a couple of dollars, high-grade specimens and rare variants can command a much higher price. In fact, a pristine 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially one with a rare mint mark or unique error, can reach an astonishing $130,000 in value. If you happen to find one of these treasures hidden away in an old coin jar or family collection, it's definitely worth having it evaluated by a professional. With the right condition and provenance, that little penny might just be your ticket to a significant fortune. Today, we're diving deep into a true classic, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny from the United States. This humble 1-cent coin might seem ordinary at first glance, but as we peel back the layers, you'll see why it's such a prized piece among collectors. Stick around until the very end, where we'll reveal the jaw-dropping value that a well-preserved 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny can command on the market. The year 1950 was a significant time in American history, a post-war era marked by optimism, growth, and a return to normalcy after the upheavals of World War II. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had become an everyday staple for Americans. Yet, these pennies were more than just change. They were a symbol of a nation's enduring spirit and the legacy of one of its greatest presidents. What makes the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny stand out? For starters, this coin belongs to the last decade of the Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. The design features the iconic wheat ears on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural roots and the hard work of its people. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, whose design has become one of the most recognizable in American numismatics. Now, a crucial detail for collectors is the mint mark. The 1950 pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, which famously did not use a mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S. Each mint mark tells a different story about production numbers and rarity. Philadelphia produced the largest quantity, so those pennies tend to be more common. However, the Denver and San Francisco mint pennies are generally scarcer, making them more desirable for collectors seeking to complete their collections. Condition is another huge factor that can drastically influence the coin's value. Over time, many of these pennies passed through countless hands, losing their original luster and developing wear and tear. Circulated coins often show smoothing, scratches, or discoloration. But when you come across a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny in excellent condition, crisp details, sharp wheat stalks, and a shiny surface, you're holding a true numismatic treasure. Uncirculated or mint state pennies, with their flawless preservation, are extremely rare and highly sought after, but beyond just the mint mark and condition, there are also rare varieties and minting quirks that can boost a 1950 penny's appeal. For example, some coins might exhibit double dies, a fascinating mint error where the design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during the striking process. Such errors are like nature's little surprises, catching the eye of collectors who prize these one-of-a-kind imperfections. Additionally, certain pennies from 1950 may show die cracks or planchet flaws, further increasing their uniqueness and collectible value. The 1950 Lincoln wheat penny also represents a fascinating crossroads in American coinage. Just 8 years later, the wheat penny would give way to the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse, marking the end of an era. This makes the 1950 coin not just valuable but a piece of history that reflects a transitional time in both design and culture. So what is this coin worth? Well, it varies widely depending on those key factors: mint mark, condition, and any unique varieties or errors. While the majority of circulated examples might fetch just a few cents to a few dollars, high-grade specimens, especially from Denver or San Francisco mints, can command significantly higher prices. In fact, a top-condition 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, particularly one with a rare mint mark or mint error, can be worth as much as $107,000. If you stumble upon a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny in your change, your coin collection, or inherited stash, don't overlook it. It's definitely worth having examined by a professional grader who can authenticate and assess its condition properly. That little penny could be a gateway to a sizable fortune. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. If you love discovering the fascinating history and potential value of this classic coin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future coin treasures we uncover. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and happy collecting.